I've been called to a Euro 6 DAF XF today with wipers that won't operate on any speeds. Best to start in the fuse box first, as this could all be a simple case of a blown fuse. Not only are we missing the fuse, but we don't seem to have anything left to put the fuse in. As you can see, the final straw for this was going up to 30 amps, burning the leg off the fuse and into the fuse board, rendering the fuse holder completely useless. So we best pull this fuse board out and go and get a new one from DAF.
That's £1,000.
Yep, don't think we'll be paying for that. I best fix this board then. So with all the fuses out and the plastics off, we best figure out how we're going to repair this board. Unfortunately, the soldering iron couldn't apply enough heat to the fuse holder for me to swap it out. So we're going to bridge this contact over to the next fuse on the board which isn't used. With the board repaired and the fuse holder next to the original one now our wiper fuse holder, we can get this back together and throw all the fuses back into the fuse board.
So now I've done this here, so we've just jumped that across. So if we test this and this, it should beep.
Yeah.
You know, I said it's split up into power before and after contact before.
Oh, yeah.
So if we tested that and here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because it's this one here is only from there round to there.
Like this one and that will beep.
Yeah.
So like the top ones are powers in, so they're all on the same circuit.
Yeah.
And that's why I've joined the bottom.
Sounds stupid, but you explain it in such an easy to understand way.
But it's only because I had to try and figure it all out myself.
So I go just see where he is now. If he's not anywhere.
We're just going to need fuses now.
We now have the task of plugging the connectors into the fuse board one by one. You can't get this wrong as they are individual to their locations.
Yeah, C plug A, that's 125 amps that'll take. So that'll take an inverter on that.
As I've just explained to the driver, the fuse board has various designated slots for both power before and after contact for accessories such as inverters. With all our plugs in, I can adjust the fuse placement on the diagram to show we're now using an additional accessory fuse location for the wipers. Now to do some diagnostics. Why did the driver decide to start welding the fuse board with fuses? Could it be the relays? These relays fit here in R03 and R04, just below our damaged fuse holder. I'm not taking any chances here, so with the ignition off, in goes my short circuit diagnostic kit. I've just added these on the new website over at trucktechuk.com. If you're interested in this kit, I'll leave a link down below in the description. Another component involved in this short circuit issue is the wiper motor. If only DAF had mounted it on the outside of the truck. For another day, another dash removal montage. With our headlight switches out the way, our dip panel trim can come off and these storage compartments can come out the way, so we can pull the panel out above and unplug the switches from this panel. This panel can then be removed complete with the sat-nav unit, which can be left here on the side. Now for the fun part.
Gotta get that out now.
If you remove these two screws here, it allows some movement in the air ducting, allowing me to manipulate this out the way.
Why?
So one massive hole in the dash, and right down at the front we have our wiper motor. I'm going to leave this unplugged for now and test what happens when we put the relays in and turn the ignition on. Does our fuse blow? Well, nothing at the moment, but what happens if we activate the switching circuit via the wiper stalk? Well, no fuse blown again. Let's see what happens if we plug the wiper motor in.
Oh.
Soon as the wiper motor was plugged in, it blew our fuse. I'm convinced this is a component problem now. So a new one was purchased from DAF, which is actually a Valio unit. I'll leave the part number in the description for future reference. So now to get the linkage off. Some brute force and ignorance later, and I got the wiper linkage loose from the spindle. Some nice cracks here from the bolt holes. This is the sort of issue where you'd want to submit a field report to DAF for product improvements. Anyway, let's fit this new wiper motor. With our old one out, we can drop our new one in and then pop back outside to try and line the bolts up. I usually put a nut on the spindle which allows me to pull the motor up close to the bulkhead. Once I get a screw started, I can run the others in. I'd be an idiot to put all this back together and not test our wiper motor circuit. So with our motor plugged in and our fuse reset, let's see what happens. With the motor performing intermittent, slow and fast operations without blowing the fuse, I can let this motor come back to its park position. You can't beat fitting a wiper linkage and then having the wipers go round and park straight up on the screen. So, after an argument with the wiper arms on where straight is, I can finally drop the nut on the motor spindle, and let's see if it managed to get the park position correct. All seems good to me, and with the final nip of the nut, we can get this all back together. With our super inflexible air ducting going back in, I can get the screws in with the rest of the air ducting system. Slap our plugs back into the switches and refit our panel to the satellite navigation unit. With the storage trays clicked back in, we can turn our attention to plugging in the dip. And after another fight with it, I can finally get some screws in. With our dip trim panel fitted over the parking brake and the headlight switch plugged back into the LIN network for the ELC, I can get the surround pushed back on. And with a flick of the keys and another test of the wipers for functionality, I'd say this is a job well done. I better not forget to change this fuse and put this puller back in and get off to my next job. This video just goes to show you that you can't always use a diagnostic computer to test and fix everything on a truck, and you don't always need to fit new parts such as the fuse board if it can be suitably repaired. If you're after more content, I've new videos on the forum over on the website. If you thought this was a good video, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you in the next one.